over to the YouTube. It is currently going through a countdown. Once it goes through the countdown, we'll be ready to switch over for the YouTube. So as much as you're watching the preview here on IG, it will be live on YouTube. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of This Is Us. It's a talk show where we talk and we have conversations about various topics. Now, I'm your host Dee, and I'm going to introduce you to my fellow panelists. We have Jude.
Hi guys, good evening.
We have G.
Hello everyone, hi.
And we have Tyler.
Hey people, good evening.
Evening to you all. If you are a regular, you'd know us all by now. But if you're not, please just hit the subscribe and the notification bell and let us begin. So you're all probably thinking, what's today's topic about? Initially, it had the spouse coming from abroad, but we've had a little discussion and we thought, we need something a little bit different. So we've come up with the abroad bae. So today we're going to be talking about relationships, but we're going to be talking about relationships that sort of, long distance relationships and relationships of different cultures, and we'll touch on various things that goes along that path. So I'm going to start with my first question, and I'm going to pass that over to G. So it's not even a question, I'm just going to say, G, would you like to kick us off and tell us your experience of building and maintaining a long distance relationship?
Yes, of course. Hi everyone, can I just apologize on behalf of all of us for the delay in starting? We're trying to be all technical and go on IG live and everything, so it didn't go as smoothly as we wanted to, but shout out to the IG guys. So long distance relationship, I've had one. My now husband, when he was a then boyfriend, lived in South Africa, and it was hard, it wasn't easy. And I think, how did we maintain? Obviously, we had, we have to see each other every 3 months or something, either he came over or I went over, that was sort of agreed. And then we sort of always make sure we go in touch with each other regularly. And what I'd say is the best part of long distance relation, what it taught me was how to communicate, because obviously you can't see the person, you can't see their body language, you can't see anything. All you have is, I know it's going to sound so old, MSN. That's what we had. We had MSN chat, and we had
MSN.
And I think we had BBM at some point when we all moved to BBM. Yeah. So we moved on to BBM, and then I remember every morning I'd wake up to like an email from him, and he went to bed early, I did, and then I'd send him an email before I go to bed. So communication was the key thing for us to like keep that going. We did speak once a day at least. It wasn't easy, but when you just know what you have, and any relationship takes work, but this one just needed extra work. It didn't help that most of my friends used to joke like, oh, you can't find man in London, you have to go and find man in South Africa. And
I was going to actually just say, how do you cope?
Yeah.
The trust issue. How did you trust each other?
I said in our last episode, I go under the impression that he slept with everybody anyway. And I kind of maintain that same thing and I'm very much when you're boyfriend, girlfriend, you haven't taken any vows before God. You haven't made any commitment to each other. That's how I see it. So I never went snooping when I was there. I never checked emails, looked at the phone. I never did any of that because it was just, you're not my husband. So I don't have any sort of right or claim to jack you up. And that's how I saw it. So I didn't really, so for me, it was always like, okay, when and if we get married, then all of those things would come into question. But before then, I was just like, in my mind, my own thing was just like, be safe. Whatever you do, just be safe.
You're better than me, because I don't think I could do living here, he lives away, we see each other once I know the communication was there, but what about the intimacy? Because you're in a relationship, And we know one of the things about a relationship is being able to be intimate. And when I say, I'm not even just talking about going all the way and having sex.
Hey,
I'm
please.
talking about the, I'm talking about the little things like holding hands and the cuddles and the things, the warmth.
They were hard. Those things were hard. Not having those things were very, very hard. But I it feels like such a long time ago. I can't remember how it felt like to deal with, because I can't think of it now, because now he's literally just downstairs. But then it was hard, but you just, and I don't think I was one of those people that needed to be cuddled and hold hands, and I'm not that way inclined. So maybe that's why I wasn't too bothered about it. I don't even think I thought about all of that one, because for me, the minute I knew this was someone I was serious with, it was more the long-term foundation, the communication, this, all those other things, because those other intimacy things were, I mean, we did try to do something intimate, but then after the first time, and it just felt really awkward, like, nah, it's not gonna happen. It was just
What?
so
You
odd.
tried to do
So,
something
so, so,
intimate?
so you're
What,
saying you
hold
try
on.
to do Kim Kardashian and Ray, whatever his name was? Ray,
No,
Ray?
those ones were in the same room. We weren't in the same room.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh,
Yes.
look at me. Yeah, yeah.
We got
Sorry.
Skype involved, but then I was just like, I just felt so silly. I was just like, nah, this is so it just didn't. I had such a headache. It didn't even work.
So
I
y'all had
know.
virtual sex.
This is that
Oh.
we tried, but then we didn't. Thanks, Tyler. We tried, but we didn't. It just wasn't.
So you
It
guys are
felt
pioneers, though. Good. You're pioneers.
no.
You're
For me,
pioneers.
it was unnatural.
You saw the pre-COVID time. So yeah, fine. Well
No,
done.
no, it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. I
Ah,
just, it was, I felt so stupid. Like, I can't explain how stupid I felt.
But there are
You just do
people
something, you
that's
hate
how
yourself.
they get through it. There are people that do the whole.
Yeah, those are the same people that now buy virtual reality sex thingies you wear on your face and you have it.
wow.
Yeah, those are those same people. I'm not one of them.
No.
So it just depends on, it worked for some people, it did work for us. So we had to make sure we saw each other regularly, not physically, rather than all that. And it wasn't the easiest thing because it's 12-hour flight. So you get there, when I get there, I'm tired, I'm irritable, I smell of plane. It's just, so for the first day, I'm a complete, like, don't touch me, don't talk to me,
Zombie.
don't. Yeah, but then, so whenever I'd go for like at least 2 weeks, so at least it feels like I've settled in a little bit, but it wasn't easy.
But I think I'd have to say that just sort of shows to me what strength you have or foundation you have to your relationship. For the mere fact of you being able to, sorry, how long did you sort of go through him being in South Africa?
5 years.
5 years.
So
wow.
We started dating in 2008 and we got married in 2013, and he wasn't here for the first 6 months of marriage. And then he was here. So a while.
Wow. Like I said, I think that's a strong foundation to a marriage, for the mere fact of you've been able to be separated and be strong, so that now that you are together, it's nothing can sort of fire that down. You are strong. You are
Amen.
But when we talk about that, we're speaking about both of you are the same, I presume, same culture, same tribe.
We are, but we're not, if that makes sense. I came here when I was 16. So I'm very British in a lot of ways, and he isn't. So he was in Nigeria for a long time, and then he was in South Africa for 7 years, but he was a full adult when he went to South Africa. I came when I was 16, and I had to discover myself. So in many ways, we were also very two different cultures. So yeah, we speak the same language, but there's many ways. Yeah, so there were times when it got a bit hairy, like with different situations, and you'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Oh no, you can talk to me like, oh no, who do you think you're, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
When we talk about different cultures, I know Jude, you're married to a European, a lady that's from, so you're gonna have to remind, what country she's from?
Latvia. Am I right?
Yeah, you got that right.
Latvia. Yeah. Okay. So
it shows you listen.
Yes, I do.
Do you have, or give us examples of culture clashes, or do you have culture clashes?
I think it will surprise people, mostly Nigerians, who to hear what I'm going to say right now. You expect that culture shock, but in Nigeria as a whole, we have more than 330 tribes. There's already culture shock there. Although I grew up in Benin, where my first language is meant to be Edo or Ishan, but I don't speak both. I understand both to an extent, but I don't speak both because of the trend of what we now call broken English or pidgin English. So most homes in Benin would normally speak pidgin English. So that in itself, in the whole of Benin, I remember when I went to my aunt's place and I would say, "Good morning, auntie," and she would give me a big knock on the head. "Are you mad? Are you Oyinbo? Where you they greet me good morning? Come on, go down and greet me the proper way." And I'll be like,
Oh, wow.
and they will deal with you for not being able to do that. So that was already culture shock. So growing up that way in a home where my mom didn't really bother about teaching us about how we greeted in our dialect or how we should interact in our dialect. So coming here, it was like an ease for me. So I already understood all of those dynamics. So of course, marrying a European who spoke a different language from me, Russian and Latvian, it was, yes, there was definitely going to be that. But I met her here. I didn't meet her in her country. I met her here. We met here. Yes, friends spoke to me about that. The first time I was going to their country and they told me you will be sold. They'll be talking about things about you and you won't know, blah, this, blah, that. Like I said, the way I was brought up, I was already prepared for that sort of life. I don't busy myself with things like that. You can talk all you want to talk in your coded terms. It's your business. I'm like a G in so many ways. I have a default position with life. Sometimes, mostly I come with the position of not trusting anyone. That's why I start and we'll build it. And I come with the default position that you would have slept with everybody. Everybody's your person. I don't care. Then we'll build the trust from there. So I'm sort of similar to G in that aspect. So culture shock for me wasn't there for me. But when I went to her country, what I noticed was, yes, now, no offense to people who have hearing impairment or visual impairment, but I was tone deaf to everything that was happening around me. But the joy and the love that they displayed, that they demonstrated by, look, buy me a lot of beers and a lot of meats, you know, it just, you know, the Bible, the Bible says, love covereth a multitude of sins. So all of that cues is a universal language, you understand. The men will just come, drink, and I knew that language, and we would drink.
Everybody knows this.
That's what it is. Right. Yeah. So,
Jude, I'm just gonna stop you there for 1 minute. We will come back to you to continue. But what I want to just put out there is, those of you on Instagram, we are going to be switching over fully to YouTube. So thank you for tuning. But if you want to continue, please just switch over to YouTube. And those of you on YouTube, if you can just hit the subscribe and like. And as I said, we're continuing. Jude, how did it feel when you found out that, or how does it feel when you're in a situation and they are speaking, as you say, Russian, or like you said, it goes over you, but how, like, explain that? Because I'm somebody that doesn't understand Igbo and very little of Yoruba, and when people are speaking, I find that difficult. How do you cope with that?
Yes, what's that feeling? The feeling of being completely lost. Not lost in the sense that you don't trust what they say, maybe they want to say you down the river. No, lost in the sense that you feel so let down by your own abilities. Like, I don't know how to speak this language. How I wish I could get in the conversation with them. And you could tell from people's faces that they really wanted to chat with you, and they're trying their best. And one or two who's really bold will say, "You've been married to our sister for a while now. Can't you learn the language?" And you feel that inadequacy. And when I saw somebody who knew a word or two in English, it was like Jesus Christ arrived. And we could just say, "Yeah, hello, hi, you. Hey, I was in London. That was it." Yes, there's that feeling of inadequacy in my own part that, oh my God, I wish I could just chat with them in this dialect. It would have made things easier, but it would have been more jolly for me. So that wasn't there. So I would have to follow their non-verbal cues to understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
So that's how
amazing.
I did it. Yeah.
But it's amazing how we pick up certain things, although we don't understand.
Yeah.
Body language.
Yeah.
Universal when it comes to things like the beer or the vodka or the whiskey.
Yeah.
Certain things
that's universal.
That's universal. But what I was going to ask, Tyler, do you speak or understand any other languages?
Yeah, many.
Oh. What do they
learning
call you
something
guys? What do they call you guys who understand many
I didn't-
languages?
Multilingual.
Multi-bilingual.
Oh.
Multilingual.
new.
I
Okay,
didn't
so
say
what?
I didn't say I understand the languages fully, but if you say hello to me in Spanish,
I know that too.
I
I
like
know
that
that. I'm multilingual, yeah.
Which languages do you speak or understand?
nah, I'm joking. I don't speak any other language like fluently. When I was younger, obviously I lived with my dad for a bit, so he spoke Yoruba. And I kind of picked up Yoruba quite a lot when I lived with him. I understood more than I could speak, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But just from lack of practice,
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah.
odd
You know
words.
just enough
like,
to get by, though.
You in chat
Yeah.
know when they're telling you off.
You
know when they're
Oh, what did you say? Fimisile or
yeah, that's
Lejo.
leave me alone.
Fimisile, Joe. Leave me, Joe. Leave me, Joe. I know that one.
That's my thing. When you say that, that's the Yoruba. Lejo. You know what I mean? And obviously the normal things like bowing and
Bowing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the simple kind of things, yes, but not fluently. Spanish, I started teaching myself Spanish a few years ago, and I got quite good with that. But again, it's lack of practice. So no, I'm not gonna front.
Okay, so you understand a little bit of Yoruba enough. I'm presuming if you're in a room of people speaking Yoruba, you would be able to get by to ensure that you can hold your own to last at least 5 minutes.
It depends. It depends what they're talking about.
5 minutes is long, you know.
I'll pick up on certain words, but it's not like I'll be slow. Do you know what I mean? It would hear certain words, and then I'll be like, okay, cool. He just said a cuss word, so I know he's saying something bad again. You know
okay, I mean? So what about your spouse? Does your spouse speak or understand any other languages?
Nah, she's the same. She was born in Nigeria, but again, she was a baby when she came here, so again, lack of practice. She's
Okay, so I'm just thinking,
even though I have a Yoruba husband, there's some words he says to me that I'm like, I automatically assume he's swearing at me. I've never, or he talks to me sometimes in proverbs, like Yoruba proverbs, but he uses like the authentic Yoruba. I'm like, eh?
That's what we call Yoruba demon. It's a Yoruba demon.
Well, no, it's not that bad. I'll say to him, can you translate that, or can you tell me? Or sometimes I'll try to remember what he said, and then I'll speak to one of my good friends that understands that sort of Yoruba, and she'll tell me what it means. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. It wasn't swearing at me. But yeah.
That sort of Yoruba, this is what I mean. There's so many different, even within people that can speak Yoruba, still don't understand.
Yes.
But you know what? It's quite amazing when we talk, because I know we're talking about spouse from abroad or the abroad bay, but when we speak about abroad, I know that, as I said, when we thought of the title, that was what we came up with, but we're just talking about different cultures coming together. My parents, one's Igbo, one's Yoruba. And I know my mum doesn't understand Igbo, but my dad can speak it fluently. But my dad, if he was to be met, you'd think he's a full-blown Lagosian. He speaks Yoruba better than some Yoruba people themselves.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think anyone that lives in Lagos, that's what happens for some reason.
It's amazing because when they tell us the story as to when they got together, there was a big issue because we know nowadays it's easier because you can marry between tribes. It's more accepted. But back when they were younger, it wasn't like, I know their parents had issues, especially from my mum's side. But language, I think language is key for you to, I know, even I struggle. My husband can speak Yoruba, he speaks it fluently. And I sometimes sit there saying, pardon, please, I'm struggling here. I have to ask for translation. And it's really, but we're able to communicate because we both can speak English. So I'm thinking between all of us, we're all married with spouses that we can communicate. Language is not a big barrier. It's not a problem. It doesn't cause any issues to any of us in that sense. But I was going to ask, who has watched 90 Day Fiancé?
Don't know what that is.
I have. I've watched, I think, 2 or 3 series, I think. Not all of them.
I'm guessing that's similar, right?
No, they're different. They're different.
Okay. Have you watched Michael and Angela?
Nope.
Oh, I don't think so. Is the Michael the Nigerian guy? I've seen clips of it that people have posted, but I've never actually watched that particular series because for some reason it wasn't on TLC or whatever channel they show it on. Oh, I just
Okay.
forgot, but I know about that one.
Before I go into detail on that, I'm just going to talk. We're just going to talk about or touch on marriage with ulterior motive. So, scenario: somebody's getting married to somebody, but they're marrying because they want papers. They want to be able to get the right to stay in a specific country. So I'm actually going to throw this one to Jude. What do you think, or what do you feel is what's your opinion in regards to when people they play the part, so they act like they lovingly marry, they love someone, they want to marry, they want to spend the rest of their lives with them, but we know deep down in their minds that's not why they've married that person.
I think it is quite, how do I put it? It's quite difficult topic to discuss, though, because my opinion about marriage, anyway, is everyone has an agenda. You're marrying for love is an agenda. You're marrying because you want a man by your side or a woman by your side. That's an agenda in itself. So none of us come into a marriage blindly, like with no agenda. If you come into a marriage with no agenda, you should be in it. So the man is prepared for this marriage, the woman is prepared, same. People pay for papers. They pay for women or men to marry them for papers.
Yeah.
So what do we call that? There are some people who have not told their spouses over abroad to say, hey, I've got a wife and kids back home, or wife and kids, or wives and kids back home. I'm just doing this, so don't get it twisted. So we're doing this because I want to get my regular stay here, blah, 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 and then move on. There are people who have actually advised their spouse here and said, look, this is the plan. We'll just enjoy ourselves, but this is it. I've got family back home. I didn't know that this was all the game, how they do things here. Yeah, obviously, I wouldn't just start with the line of deception from day one. I'm grateful that I didn't have any girlfriend back home when I left the country, or promised anyone a ring or a finger or a piece of my heart. Thank goodness I didn't do that. And I'm so glad that I did it, because I don't think it would have lasted. That promise would have lasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because when I got to Europe, I got a rude awakening. I was like, whoa, this is not what you guys told me. You told me it was flowing with milk and honey. They were picking money from trees. They were doing this, that, that. I was homeless a couple of months when I came Europe. So how did you expect me to then I promised a woman back home or a guy back home that I'm coming back to rush you into my arms and blah, blah, blah. I would have turned on that couple of hours, because Europe was brutal. So you can understand the decisions people take. Yes, there are some who, as a result of happenings, fell into that situation. I'm not justifying anyone, but there are some who actually just started from day one deceiving you. They use deception. It is not right. You want to pay for it, go pay for it and do it. It's not right by the law, but go do it, instead of taking a woman or a man through that whole journey. And they then wake up one day that you have Kelechi and Ikechuku and whatever back home as children, and you've got a wife. It is very, very, very sad. It's not good. It's not ended well, because I know people who's gone through this. I know I have a lot of experience. I've been involved in this as well, whereby I have join hand with somebody to fight somebody against this, and it caused big trouble. So I know all of this and how it's destroyed family. I'm happy. I'm putting my hands up here. I didn't promise no girl or no guy back home that I was going to come grab them, and I'm grateful I did not, because like I said, it wouldn't have lasted 2 hours when I go into Europe. I would have jackpot. Trust me.
Jackpot.
Tyler,
what's your opinion in regards to the whole getting married for papers, getting married, even Jude touched on something, paying somebody. So there's two different ways. Some people do it where they sort of play the part. They act like they're in love with that person in order to marry them. And then some people would pay someone in order for them to get the papers. But I want to touch on the one where they act as if, because I think it's heartbreaking to play with somebody's heart like that, marry them and even have children, and then decide it's not for you. Tyler, what's your opinion? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think, you said there's two different ones. I actually think there's three different ones before I touch on it. I think there's the pay for someone because you want your paper, so you're being honest about it. Or there's the pretend that you love them. Or I think the third one is that you actually do have some sort of connection. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I believe that was my mum and dad. So I'm talking from a personal experience now. So my dad came from Nigeria, did uni and stuff like that, and then met my mum. I don't know whether at the time when they met that he told her whether he had a wife back in Nigeria. I don't know. I've never really asked my mum that question, but he did. But I genuinely think that they somewhat found some sort of love and got married. Whether or not the conversation came out or what, I don't know. It was a different time back then, back in the 80s. So I think the one that is deceitful and pretends that they're falling for someone, that's really bad. That's horrible. That's not nice. The one that needs to pay, I'm not gonna for 1 second slate anyone that does that, because I know there's many people that have been in situations like this where they've come to, say, either England or wherever it is, they've worked hard for many, many years. And just because of that stamp in their passport that says they have to go back and they've paid their taxes and whatnot, do you know what I mean? Then they found a way to do what they need to do to say, I'm not slating that at all. You do you, as long as you're.
And with that one, you could sort of say they would come to an understanding, because it's a transaction, isn't it? You've spoken to the other person.
Yeah.
They're aware as to what's going on. So that one is
the other
both
person's
parties
aware,
are.
They probably get some money, whatever. I don't know the ins and outs, but they probably get some money, whatnot. So cool. Like that's essentially a business transaction.
It is transaction.
Yeah.
Whether it's legal or not, there's people that are doing way more illegal things than that are
yes.
You know. So
True speak, bro. True speak.
I'm not gonna point fingers at that at all, because I know that there's some people that, you know, that have literally been in dire situations back home, and this is like life or death. They can't return home. So it's easy for me that's born in the UK and I'm holding a British passport to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's illegal. But hold on a minute. Do I know their situation back home? No, I don't. So I'm never gonna open my mouth and slander anyone like that.
Yeah, true speak.
But the ones that try to pretend, I mean, again, some would see it as the person's hustling. They've got no other option. Maybe they can't afford, because, you know, some people, they can't afford to pay whatever they need to pay to get lawyers, solicitors, whatever it is, to get involved. So maybe some people need to play this game where they actually fall for someone, European or whatever, and they end up getting married. Therefore, you know, it's still wrong. But at the end of the day, what is their history? What's their background? What's their, you know, I think it's an individual case by case basis. And, you know, some people do genuinely fall in love. And, you know, let me talk about my mum, right? My mum's got such a good heart. She's such a good woman. She's a type of woman where she's not been with my dad all these years, but my dad's in Nigeria now. He's talking about coming back to the UK, right? To, you know, for I'm not even gonna go into it. But my mum, after all these years,
she still would want to help or do something.
She still said that he would be able to come and stay at her house. And, do you know what I mean? My mum's ex-partner, the other ex-partner, do you know what I mean? She's still there for him and she's still friendly. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if my dad said to my mum back then, look, you know, I need you to help me. And then through that, whether they fell in love and whatnot, whatever, I don't know. But I believe that she may have been, okay, cool, I'm going to help you because I like you as a person.
But you know, some women
do that.
Love in previously, or back in the days, different to how we love now. I know somebody in the YouTube have put that love has merged nations, marriage has merged nations and things like that. We've got stories of people that have gotten married and then fallen in love with each other. They've married for convenience. They've married to put nations together. So they probably even met on the day of their marriage, and then they've lived a blissful married life. So it can happen where you can discuss it, and as time has gone on, you've fallen in love with each other, and that's built.
But they say you shouldn't fall in love. They say you should grow in love, right?
You should grow in love. Exactly.
I agree with that.
I think, we shouldn't confuse what we're talking about now with love merging nations. That it's an arranged marriage. It's different from what we're talking about long-term relationships or long-distance relationships. It's quite different. Love merging nations. The Queen of England, their marriage is arranged. Every marriage is arranged in the whole of European royal dynasty. It's all arranged. It's all for power. But this is quite different. Me coming from Nigeria to marry for papers. I'm not merging Nigeria. I'm not merging Nigeria with Britain. I'm just marrying.
We know that. But what I'm just putting that together because it does make sense in regards to when we think about it. When as Tyler used this example where he says his dad would call and his mum would still do for, because that love has grown. So they could have had that understand. I use the nation as an example, but I know it's not the right context for now. But the love could have grown, and to the point where they're not together, but she'll still do, because there's still love. It might not be in love, but there's still love there.
Of course, of course.
But in the chat, I can see somebody's going all out for Michael and Angela. Now, I know the panelists here say you've not really watched it, but I have to tell you about Michael and Angela. Angela is a lady from America, and Michael is a Nigerian man. If you follow the show, there was a lot of talk around it in regards to whether he genuinely loved her. It was a case of she'd go over to, I think he eventually got her down to Nigeria. No, he'd got her down to Nigeria. He wanted these papers to go to America, but they turned him down. So he then brought her back to Nigeria and she married him. But it's the conversations, because the way she'd speak to him, the way he'd respond, the way he acted did seem a bit dodgy. It did seem a bit, it's this. But I know this was about 3 years ago, and I think they're still married now. So there is a big talk that they are still together.
Where are they
but
living?
you have to. I'm not sure about that one. Probably still in Nigeria. I don't think he's received his visa yet, but we can look into that.
That's why they're still married.
Immigration. He's an immigration lawyer or immigration officer. Hey, I'm married still. I met my wife in 2005.
Out.
And we stayed together. What is this year? 2021? Quick arithmetic. How many years is that? Since 2005. There are people, we have 3 children, but there are people who stayed I know people close to me. One actually pointed it to my face. He said, I didn't marry Oyibo for paper. This one married Oyibo for paper. And I wanted to just open the ground and make the ground swallow and let us die. Well, I just kept my cool and I said, your business. So that tag is going to remain over me forever. I don't care. Yes, I met my wife 2005. And if she comes here to tell you about how it was, I actually changed her. I didn't want her because I was a very confused man. I was significant. How do you call it? Seriously born again. So having sex to me was a big sin then. The woman came, I would lock my door. My friend would push my door open and say, there's a girl waiting for you. The hell is your problem? Sorry for my language. So that's where I was then. And for people to point their fingers there and say he did it for papers. After 3 children. So people should not bother about that. They will hang that tag over you forever. You just do you. Do I really care about what people say? No. But if it wasn't for public that day, I would have smashed that gentleman's face. Trust me. That's just me.
But then what are you going to do with the next person that says the same thing?
Smash their face until they stop.
How many faces are you going to be smashing?
We just keep smashing. We just keep, thank you, Tyler. We just keep smashing. Trust me. I'm like that though. It's reality for me. We keep smashing.
But the thing is, I think anytime you marry somebody, if you're a British citizen, you marry someone that's not British, there's always that. Even if my own husband jokingly tells me he married me for paper.
Yeah. We joke about it too.
When we started dating, I didn't even have a British passport. So I'm like, which paper? I don't have paper to give you, that sort of thing. But it's still something he keeps joking about. So it's just something that I think will always be there. The whole
will be there. So don't worry about it.
You know this Michael and Angela thing though. Yeah, sorry to just interrupt. I've not watched it, but for me, it's a reality TV show. So I couldn't. Things like that, I would straight away be like, I don't believe
it's dodgy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
straight
away. I think that's probably why I've not really
put,
zoomed in on it.
They're awaiting a visa because Trump wasn't letting in people from Nigeria. But I don't know. For me. I don't know who this guy is, but it seems like he's playing the long game, isn't it? Like,
he is.
Oh, wait, I'll eventually go and get what I want.
When he gets to America, right, and he tell me they're still together in 5 years' time, then we'll see.
The funny thing is,
you gotta play that long-term game.
There's quite a few. I think I know quite a few people who have had issues in that sense. I know of one that went over, married. They managed to bring him over here. Once he got himself settled, found himself work, he started to sort of spend nights away from the home. And before you knew it, he was not there. And then before you know it, he's bringing his wife over. So it was a case of he's got what he needed, and then he's now bringing his wife over. So he obviously was not in love. He had to play the part in order for him to be able to stay.
The world, unfortunately, is a stage.
That's very common. That's a very
Tyler knows that.
Let me put this out to the women. Let me put this out to the women online, right? Imagine let's use Nigeria, for example. So you're a woman in Nigeria. Your husband goes to the UK or to America, and are you allowing your husband to marry a British citizen or American in order, knowing that the long-term game is for you to come to the UK?
I will answer for some women and say yes.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, they would.
Cool.
Because again, it's a long game. So if that means that man is going to go to them as a couple, the husband and the wife, it's a job. He's doing a job. And I've heard people refer to these kind of situations.
Very smart, very smart.
You gotta do what you gotta do to get what you want.
Wow.
Very
so
smart.
They're quite okay with that. Some
Very
people
smart.
say to make it look real, have Pekin.
Oh
have
boy.
a child.
Yeah.
And then people cannot say,
I wish I had a wife to tell me that. Oh boy, life was sweet.
They will say yes. Have a child so that it looks real. And
I wish I had that one from Nigeria.
The wife at home will be doing the crying. Oh, look at what you did to me. Oh my God.
Dude.
I gave this man my life and everything.
I'm being honest. If I had that, I would just be telling the woman, my paper never come out in 2.5 years. Another 5 years for indefinite. That's another child.
Exactly.
No,
I know somebody.
I need to go and marry another woman.
I know somebody that was engaged. They were engaged to somebody. The guy didn't have papers. And then they decided to go to America, marry someone there for paper, tell the person they engaged to that, oh, I'm just marrying this person so I can get a Yankee passport. Once I finish, I'll come back and marry you. They're engaged though. And the girl said, okay, fine, I'll wait for you. Oh, how long would it be? 5 years. And the guy is telling the girl, I might have to have a child by this woman. The girl said, okay, fine. And I remember thinking, what kind of love is this? This is not love. What the guy is saying you should wait for 5 years. Like, I don't understand. But it does happen.
What's just come into my mind, and I've seen this happen. Now, I don't even know if this links into this topic, but I've watched a wedding where the bride is there and there's a photograph of the groom.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
The groom.
Yeah, my dad told me about this.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It was very popular in Benin.
Yep.
Yes, but up till now, she's still in Nigeria. He's still in America, and then
it's playing the long game. Like I said, it's doing what I said. Paper never come. It will come in 5, in 4, in 8. That's what he's saying.
When I was younger, my dad used to joke to me, and he used to say, "Look, I can marry a woman in Nigeria for you. You don't even have to be there." He was like,
nope.
"Oh, you can." That's what he was saying to me when I was younger.
Yeah,
all this time growing up,
it still happens now.
I may even have 5 wives in Nigeria.
Mrs. Fire said.
I don't know. What I'm saying is, when I go to Nigeria, next time I go to Nigeria, my wife, you better come with me. Because
you have a lot of Mrs. Fire says.
You never know.
Yes,
Tyler will come back with wife number 2 and 3.
Yeah, the original ones.
But then I think we've touched on it when we think about we say post shock, but we've had the shock, which is that whole already married with children back in Africa, a wife back in Africa. But from what I gather, it seems like that's something that's quite common. And female, we make it sound like it's just the men that do it. Women do it as well. Women do come over, marry, and sort of they work the game just the same, and it's the same issues, the same drive, the same grind. But I don't know, we've just put it down to being, it sounds like it's just a male thing, but we know that it's actually both males and female, probably more dominant with males, but women do it as well. But I don't know, what do we think about that? It's just,
go on. I think from experience though, it's been majority the guys. So that's why it is. The women that I know about, from the stories I've heard as well, they normally don't set out to do that deception, because there's already this bond between them and their partner, whether they were married back home, that I'm going to do this also. Maybe she got a visa to go study and all of that. So there was that expectation. And I'll tell you, a few of those stories I know from the women's side, when push came to shove, they just ended the relationship back home and continued there. They didn't keep them. Maybe they're out there, I don't know. But the ones I'm aware of, they didn't continue the one back home. They just say, you know what? you know, work. That's where it ends. They continue with this one. But it was always the guys. Majority of them was the ones who were able to juggle and keep one in Kanu and one in London and one in America. I can tell you I was involved in a particular one. This gentleman from Nigeria, a very prominent family in Ondo State. He was in Gambia. I ended up marrying a Sierra Leonean in Gambia. I met the lady in London. Yeah, and she was the one who was the breadwinner back home in Gambia. She put some money together, sent this guy over to America. Their agreement, when you get there, come back for me and your daughter. Fair enough. And this guy went over to America and he married the first one. He told the lady it was for papers. She understood quite all right. But from that, he moved to another one, married again. Still for papers, no, can be correct. And he started to ignore this family. And by chance, I saw her. She was really suffering, and I said, "You're a very intelligent lady. Let me get involved." And she told me the guy's name and all. And I just went to Facebook, searched for the guy's name, and I saw that it was actually in the third marriage. I was like, "What is happening here?" And I went on the woman's page. They did a very massive wedding in America. I think it was Texas or Florida. I can't remember. And I just went there and I said, "Guy, this is criminal in America. It's against the law. You're legally married to this woman in Gambia, but obviously she's in London now, and you've gone on to marry 1, 2, 3 in America. What is happening? Your daughter is 10 years old at the time I did this." I said, "Please get in touch with these people. They're suffering." She was really suffering in London. So it was a sister who were like every Sunday, we really don't have money. We'll still give her 20 quid. But that's not what I saw about her. I saw a very intelligent lady, and I said, "Look, it can't be happening." I did that. Obviously, they blocked me. When I saw her the next time, that guy, they got my message, right? This woman he married to in America didn't know that he was married already with a child. And he's actually married twice before in America. And she caused a big trouble. And his family went to pressure her on the phone and said, "Look, why are you causing trouble for our son? You want to take food from our mouth?" So you see where we're going with this whole agenda thing. And actually, that's where it ended. Then she started to beg, "Please, I just want the divorce, let it end. I don't want again, and I don't want anything to do." That's how I know all of this, and so I was involved in that directly, So it happens. For the woman will move on and say, "I can't do this too. I'm here, bye." But the guy will not do that. Imprison that one there and continue another one. So that's why it's like that.
See, we've got one of our viewers who's put up it. Adiola Roberts has put, "I knew a girl who had a guy in the US, 2 in Warri, and then was doing runs." So knew a girl who had a guy in the US. This girl is making moves. She has
big
girls. I have to
girls.
repeat it. Hold on, I have to repeat this. This girl has a guy in the US, 2 in Warri, and she's making runs. And this is a girl. Hey.
Yeah. I also know a girl that did the same thing, because I was friends with both her and her husband. And I think after a while, the husband, they married later in life, sort of. They were like, late 30s or something, much older than me. And then he started saying, "No, she's acting funny, this, that, the other." And then next time I speak to him, it's like, "Oh, they're separated," because what he found out was she married him for papers, but he didn't know. And after they got married, she had a kid for him and everything. And then once she had the kid and she had her paper sorted, she started doing things where she'd literally not be in London for months at a time. She'd go to Nigeria, whatever. Basically, she had another husband there.
Wow.
Or something, like another family there and stuff. And it was just very, and I think she had a kid before she met him. So the kid was for the husband she actually had in Nigeria. So obviously she got her papers, was kind of like just slacking with this one in London, then started building up the relationship with that one and brought that one over. And so women do it as well. And the guy was really hurt. And it was like, I remember then I had to stop talking to him for a while, because he was like, "You women, what you people do, you women." I'm like, "Okay, what did I do? You can't, what did I do?" Sort of thing. So I kind of had to stop talking to him for a little bit, because okay, he's so hurt about the whole thing. And you just see each other just staring at women, especially Nigerian man, just staring at them like he was going to go strangle one of them. So he was so hurt by it. And he was a Nigerian man. And in a way, he kind of trying to be like, "It's what you people have been doing to us for years now. But it's unfortunate that it happened to you. But well, you two should have done your own research properly. Go if you're going to marry somebody, do FBI a little bit. And then you marry
But
them."
that one is difficult too, because it's the whole double life. Okay, let me give you another scenario. I'm going to even use myself in this, as in young girl, British, grew up in London, comes across, meets a guy who's like, baby, I like you. I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. And then but you're thinking, this isn't right. This isn't right. As in, you don't want something serious. And then, I don't know, he's then saying, oh, let's get married. You've only been together for like 1 month.
I lie.
Let's get married.
Never. That's the alarm bells going off straight away. Married for what?
And then, but I think my one thing is when we start thinking about double lives. So you've married somebody here, married somebody in whichever country you're from, or whichever country you live in. And within that, you've got family in both. So you've got children from both. How? I don't know how somebody can manage that. But then as time goes on, you start drifting and spending more time with one family, but abandoning the other family. So you're not even supporting, you're abandoning them. That's not right. Not right at all. Tyler, what's your views in regards to that?
Yeah, that's terrible. Like that happened that happened to me, happened to many of my friends. Like, yeah, I think that's too common. I mean, it was anyway. Maybe now I think it may be changing a bit because people will get outed on social media.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was probably easier, because people can get away with that, because if you're going away or you're going on a business trip or whatnot, there's no photos, there's no evidence. So yeah, like I heard some similar things when some of my friends went to Dominica Republic, and they said that they met some girls out there, and these women apparently, I don't know if this is true, but apparently like they don't get given passports or something like that. So it's really difficult for them to get out of the country. So a lot of them want to just hook up with any holiday maker that comes. They go all out. Apparently, they'll come to your hotel, your villa, iron your clothes, do whatever in order for you to hopefully woo them and take them out of the country. And that shows it's desperation. So again, these people, whether they're women or men that are doing these things, marrying for papers or on running around and doing this whatever, it all comes down to this there's something deeper than just it's a desperation, in my opinion. They need to get out of whatever they need to get out of. So again, it's hard for me to it is wrong, but it's hard to kind of point fingers at them and say, look, you shouldn't be doing that, because you don't know what situation they've been in. But I agree, the ones that leave their family, and move on to a different family, that's terrible. I mean, the one good thing I can say about my dad is that he's got kids from 3 different women, but he's always looked out for all of us.
All of them.
No matter what. I mean, he took my mum to his wife's house in Nigeria.
You just can't imagine you doing that.
My mum did tell me, she was like, and his wife, who's my half brother and sister's mum and dad, she was angry. And can you blame her for being angry?
No.
So what? She didn't know about your mum?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. But I mean, again, I don't want to talk too much about this because my family is my other, sister's mum and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if I can say this, my sister's mum, for example, is in England right now, right? So technically, if it wasn't for my mum, then she wouldn't be in England right now.
Exactly.
Nor would maybe my sister or my brothers. So at the end of the day, and I'm not saying that they don't like my mum. No, they love my mum. There's nothing like that. But you can't really hate on the person that kind of gave you something. Do you know what I mean? Even though it was offended you to begin with. So it's a real tricky one. It's a real.
You just got me thinking of another topic that we could possibly talk about on another day. Polygamy, polyandry, the whole having more than one wife, more than one husband. And because both my parents came from families where they had more than one, the dad had more than one wife. So my mum's dad had more than one wife. My dad's dad had more than one wife, and they happily lived together. So this is possibly a topic that we can have another day.
The key word there is happy.
It's convenience.
The key word there is happy.
I've got happy, I've got convenient.
Yeah, conveniently lived together, not happily lived.
Yeah,
My granddad
I don't know, I'm not judging.
My granddad had 8 wives.
Yeah, I trust that
Wow.
name for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many my granddad had, and we definitely don't know how many kids he had. And my dad's on his third wife. So
We obviously see a topic here that we can talk about on another day.
Good luck.
Today, as I said, we have been talking about spouses from abroad, just the plus side of things, as we got a happily married G who brought her husband her husband lived in South Africa and they've got married and they had a strong relationship that lasted years before they lived together. So it can happen, it can work. And then we've also spoken about people that have married for convenience, married for papers, married even out of love, but people have judged them and have come into a conclusion that could have been wrong. But thank you for tuning in today. You've been listening to us. We've been talking, this is us, that's us, we talk. If you could please just hit the subscribe, hit the notification button, and we will see you next time. So this is us, and we certainly have arrived.
Bye-bye.
Peace out, people. Peace out.